shade. Merchant Peter Rugg lived in Boston a long time ago. He was a good man with a heart of gold, but with a quick temper, which was easily roused. If something was not to his liking, he hated anyone to oppose him. Once in December, when days are shortest, Peter Rugg was preparing to visit friends on their ranch. He harnessed the horse while his wife lifted their little girl Jenny into the carriage, wrapping her well in a rug. The wife stayed behind, waving goodbye till the carriage disappeared from sight. As they approached the ranch, it started to rain. They had lunch, and in the afternoon little Jenny played with the children of their host, whilst he and Mr. Rugg sipped their drinks and talked of old times. Outside, the rain had worsened. Low clouds covered over the roofs. But in the hearth, beech logs gave a warm, friendly glow, crackling merrily. After supper, Peter Rugg rose, thanked his host for his hospitality, and called little Jenny, saying they must be off home. The rancher and his wife did their best to persuade Mr. Rugg to stay the night. "It's raining harder all the time, and there's a fierce gale blowing. Sleep here. It will be easier to travel back tomorrow in daylight. We have plenty of room." But Peter Rugg refused to be convinced. "I'll get back tonight, or never," he snapped sharply, bade his friends goodbye, harnessed the horse, and drove off. A curtain of rain cloaked the countryside. Trees along the way bent their crowns and moaned, lashed by the wind. The carriage clattered on towards Boston through the unfriendly darkness. In the meantime, Mrs. Rugg kept peering worriedly through the window, gazing into the empty street, listening for sounds, waiting for her husband and daughter. She waited in vain that evening and that night. Her husband and little Jenny did not return, even the next day. Mrs. Rugg was so worried she could not sleep and did not know what to do. In the early evening of the third day, she heard the clatter of hoofs on the road. She jumped out of bed, looked out of the window, and sighed with relief. Her husband and Jenny were coming back at last. The carriage came right up the house. Mrs. Rugg was just about to go down the stairs to meet them and to help Jenny alight when her husband waved, looking up at her with despair in his eyes, and the horse drove off at full gallop. By the time Mrs. Rugg had run down into the street, all she saw was the carriage disappearing round a corner of black tree-lined alley. That was the last time Mrs. Rugg saw her husband and daughter. Unhappy and heartbroken, she fell ill, and a few days later she died. Since that day, travelers often saw the carriage drive by in desolate places, with Peter Rugg and Jenny inside. It usually flew by like the wind without stopping. On rare occasions, the horse slowed down as the carriage was passing the traveler, and the ghost rider called from his box, "I have lost my way. How do I get to Boston? I must get home this evening." Travelers and vagrants were never too happy about meeting the strange carriage. Whenever it dashed past, it always started to rain, and a storm blew up straight away. So they named the ghostly carriage the Storm Maker. The innkeepers of the road taverns were also not keen on seeing Peter Rugg. He never ordered anything to drink or eat, never stayed overnight, but only drawled from the door, "Do you know how I can get to Boston? I must get there before dark today." And the moment the door slammed behind him, the wind rose, thunder roared, and the first drops of rain hit against the windows. Some years later, when the days of carts and carriages were over and highways were crowded with cars, drivers often noticed an old Ford. Behind the wheel sat Peter Rugg, and by his side was little Jenny. The pump attendants advised drivers who stopped for gasoline, "Try and avoid meeting Peter Rugg the second time. If anyone sees him twice in one day, either their engine stops or he has a crash. Peter Rugg brings bad luck." All right,